Hey man, this is Mike Sallin with another Men's Ministry Moment. Thank you for joining me to look at insights, ideas, and information regarding ministering to men. Recently, in a few broadcasts earlier, I asked a question and encouraged you to respond with your thoughts. That question was, why are churches ignoring their men? In my travels and discussions with pastors and men's ministry leaders, I shared 4 areas I discovered that indicate a church's attitude toward ministering to men. These are leadership, promotion, masculinity, and finance. I discussed that some churches are doing 1 or 2 of these well, but most are not doing any of these well. If you have not listened to that broadcast, I would encourage you to go to the episode titled, Why Do Churches Ignore Their Men? And after doing so, provide some feedback through the email given in that episode. I'd love to hear from you. Now, I'm tackling each of these observations each week right now. And on the last episode, I talked about promotions. But on this episode, I want to look at masculinity some. If a church desires to have a vibrant men's ministry, one of the essential attributes of the ministry is to help men feel valued within the church. And in many churches, men may feel valued, but it takes several weeks, maybe months, before men get a sense of being valued. I often ask church leaders, after a man visits your church and as he is walking out, how would he complete this sentence? Men are blank here. Would they say men are valued here? Men are welcomed here? Men are supported here? Or would they say men are tolerated here? Men are a nuisance. Men are forgotten here. Hopefully, they will feel that men are valued in your church. But how can a man in his first few visits to a church begin to feel as if the church has a strong appreciation for men? Well, let's walk into a typical church with a visiting man and visualize what he might be seeing. As we walk into the doors of the church, we may find men who are giving out information such as the morning bulletin or other info. Maybe a man will help you find a seat. There'll be a few cordial greeting exchanges to help the visiting man feel welcome. And if you have a welcome center or desk, it's usually manned by ladies. As the visiting man looks around, he sees the building walls are painted in nice pastel colors, most likely white. In the front of the church, there is a nice table that he recognizes as the altar table. And on that table is a nice tablecloth or doily. On the table is a nice vase with colorful flowers arranged in it. And he's probably thinking, the ladies, maybe even my wife appreciates that. But personally, I'm not much of a flower man myself. After a few moments, someone stands up on the platform behind the podium in a nice business suit. The visiting man came in wearing an open collar, maybe in a pair of jeans. He looks around and sees that most of the people look like they are going to a semi-formal affair. He's beginning to feel out of place. Then the music kicks in. As he listens to the words and begins to take it in, it seems as though there's a lot of love songs. Songs that tend to lean toward the feminine side of emotions. Not any songs that a man could get into. Not any warrior songs. And during the singing, he excuses himself and heads to the restroom as he's not interested in listening or singing the songs being sung. And as he enters the restroom, he takes a double take at first and wonders if he's wandered into the ladies' parlor. The room is decorated in pastel colors. Nice parlor chairs. He notices there is a table with flowers arranged in a nice vase here also. Pictures on the walls are depicting a nice, calm, serene scenery. He feels as though he needs to wipe his feet on a doormat as he enters the room. Now, you may be thinking, Mike, you are exaggerating. And yeah, you may be right. But if you think about it, I'm not really that far off. Now, let's face it. Most churches are decorated with a feminine touch. Lovely pastel colors. Flowers are sitting on tables. Doilies on the tables the flowers sit on. Not very inviting for a man. Even in the men's bathrooms, there is a feminine touch. We have to make the churches more inviting for the man. There is nothing in most traditional churches that appeals to a man that will make him feel welcome. Why not churches have more of a muscular theme? Let me give you some examples. Several years ago, I was teaching a class. The room had pictures of classic cars and motorcycles on the walls, a picture of an old soda shop. There was an old bench seat from a 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air in the corner of the room, a few high tables and chairs to match. There were a few arcade games in the room. I had 30 men attending the meetings for the next 6 months, and they couldn't wait to get there each week, even bringing their friends that may not have never been in the church before. Someone sent me a picture of a men's bathroom in their church they had redecorated. Photos showed that they had hung various tools men use. There were trowels, There were trowels and handsaw, bit and brace, a crosscut saw, and a hacksaw hanging on the walls, a 4-foot level hanging vertically between the mirrors, and on the table in the room was a couple of toolboxes. Manly sayings and nice wooden frames hanging over the urinals and elsewhere in the room. The baby changing station located in the room was decorated in camouflage. And get this, the door handle on the door exiting the bathroom was a claw hammer that had been welded to a corrugated plate and bolted to the door. If the ladies can decorate their bathrooms with lovely, frilly items, why can't the men decorate theirs with masculine, manly items? I spoke to a men's group one time that was meeting in a church's garage that was turned into a man cave for the men to meet. But the most interesting item was when I was in a local church conducting a men's ministry leadership training. We started talking about making the churches feel more manly, and one of the church members said during a break, "Come on, I want to show you something." So we all followed him into another building. We walked back to where there was a caged basketball court. And as we arrived at the basketball court, he pointed up. There before us was a fully restored P-31 World War II training aircraft hanging in the ceiling. What man would not be impressed with? Now, I know every church cannot hang an aircraft from the ceiling, but I think you're getting the picture. Every church can change the decor in the men's restroom to be muscular and create a room as a man cave where men can meet for studies. Maybe even change the look of the main worship center that is more manly. Some churches are painting the walls in the worship center a darker color instead of the bright red. More churches are incorporating bands that sing masculine songs periodically, warrior-type songs. And if they utilize videos during the services, they occasionally speak to men. The dress code has even changed over the years. Men see they do not have to wear a coat and a tie to church anymore, and they can dress down. Now, let me say, I believe men need to be respectful in their dress. But what if a man comes in wearing shorts? I am more interested in reaching the man and having the man become the man God wants him to be as a husband, dad, employee, and friend. And I don't care if he does it in a business suit or shorts. So here's what I want you to do. Do an inspection of your church facilities and think about your approach toward men. Does the church appeal more to the women or to men? Nothing wrong with appealing to the women, but we do not need to forget about the men. What can you change to help men feel they are appreciated and valued in the church? There's much more we can discuss when reaching and targeting men, but I just don't have time to talk about that today. So maybe we can dive more into that in the future. But right now, in the next episode, we will talk about finances as it regards men's ministry. This is Mike Salmon. Join me next time on another Men's Ministry Moment. God bless.